We continue our conference, and let me introduce our new speaker, Anton Babenko. He is a well-known person in DevOps world and who works with AWS and HashiCorp tools such as Terraform, also known this person. Anton is a member of AWS community hero. He spent a much of time to as open source contributor. He contribute a lot of time for HashiCorp tools like Terraform. Also, Anton is a co-founder and co-organizer of many DevOps events in Norway, and also often speaks at technical meetups and conferences. So please welcome Anton Babenko and his talk, Streamlining Compliance, Leveraging Open Source Terraform AWS Modules.
Hello. Thank you very much for the
Hello
introduction.
and welcome.
Yeah, thank you. So let's get started. As you guys can read, streamlining compliance, leveraging open source Terraform AWS modules. Once more briefly, I want to tell what exactly I've been doing since 2015. Well, pretty much Terraform AWS modules, as well as pre-commit Terraform, collection of Git hooks to help you with clean code, documentation, and more. I have to admit that one of the member, or not even one, but at least two people, Georgi and Maxim, are from Ukraine, and they are now maintaining this project. And if you don't know what is pre-commit Terraform, check it out and be amazed by the superior work which they're doing for several years. So big thanks to them for continuing this effort. Also, I have made a serverless TF project to simplify work with serverless on AWS with Terraform. And terraform-bestpractices.com is also useful material for people who are learning and practicing Terraform. Also, if you want to stay up to date with what's new in terms of Terraform ecosystem, or you want to see different tools reviews or some interviews with creators of different tools, or if you just want to see how I fix different issues in the open source Terraform AWS modules, feel free to join my YouTube channel where I stream pretty much every Friday. Also, if you like to read, I'd like to mention weekly.tf is Terraform weekly newsletter, which I send every Wednesday, and I include articles and different interesting materials for people practicing Terraform. So please leave your email. I promise I'm not going to spam you, but you will receive some interesting information every week. So Terraform AWS modules, just for those who don't know, has reached more than 500 million provisions, and this is a collection of open source Terraform modules to facilitate management of common services like VPC, EKS, RDS, and many, many, many others. So this is what I have support from from different people and organization to work on. So thanks everyone for supporting my job for several years. So that's really helping me a lot. So are you interested to learn more about compliance and compliance process? I guess some of you are saying, yeah, we want. Okay, good. So then you are in the right place. So during next minutes, or I don't know, half hour, I'm going to explain things like what is compliance in very simplified way. But I hope it will be useful for people who are in this journey and who wants to know more about what is this we're going to be hearing more and more in years to come. And I think that we will hear more about this, especially like in couple years, because it is really important part of what we do. Then I will walk through a compliance process and I will explain how it usually works, what kind of steps we need to perform, or how it's actually working. Since this is technical, or at least I'm a technical person, and I want to make it as useful as possible for people who are actually hands down with Terraform and AWS and cloud and DevOps, I will demonstrate it a little bit more like in action, how it's done and what kind of things we need to do and what kind of improvements is going to happen along the way. So if you know me, you probably have already realized that I like to simplify things, like going back to the concepts like I did with serverless, for example. It was hard, and I believe it is getting simpler and simpler. That's why I'm working on that project. Similar stuff with compliance. It sounds like it's rocket science for some people who will never doing anything around it. But essentially, compliance is a way to prove to your clients that they can trust your company with their data. And that's pretty much it. There are a bunch of different, maybe more complicated, more well thought definitions of this word, which, by the way, I don't know how to even translate into Ukrainian, though I would prefer this talk to be in Ukrainian. But yeah, that's what it is. We need to prove to clients that, please leave your email here. We're not going to spam you. That's one of a way to build trust. If we are talking about compliance in terms of public cloud, some of you may have heard about shared responsibility model, which is essential to understand if you are building it in the cloud. You cannot be responsible for everything. That's why AWS made this amazing diagram, which shows that AWS is responsible for the security of the cloud. So AWS is responsible for hardware, for different underlying technologies, for how things are built in data centers, how they guarantee high availability, and many, many other things which they provide to us, to customers, to build upon. So we as customers should be staying responsible only for what we put in the cloud, which is customer data, our applications, our operating system, and that's pretty much what is the separation happening between us and AWS or any other public cloud provider in this case. Well, you may think, okay, this is fine, but there are compliance frameworks, right? Of course, there are compliance frameworks. And what is it? Let's go into more kind of definitions before we go into the code, just to understand what exactly is it. So compliance framework is essentially a set of structured guidelines to help us to meet certain requirements defined by laws or by industry standards or some internal policies. The point of compliance framework is to help us, people who are implementing them, to manage risk and improve security overall. Compliance framework also involves the implementation of the security controls. And that's what I will show a bit later with the code. But it also involves continuous monitoring and documentation of changes which are happening in the system. All of this is to meet legal and regulatory obligations which we need to meet if we want to stay compliant. And also a compliance framework vary by industry and by different type of data you operate and so on. So it's not like one compliance framework which you can implement and everything will be fine. So let's think about which one to choose. Or frankly speaking, if you implement one or two, you will automatically implement 80% of pretty much any other, because most of them helping you to reduce risk, to keep system under control, to improve your security overall, and so on. So let's look into different types of compliance framework. The first, which is pretty obvious and pretty straightforward and very generic in most cases, it's called CIS, which is Center for Internet Security, and it's essentially just a collection of best practices. Usually, these CIS controls are very good to implement, even if you're not gonna to meet any compliance regulations in the near future, just because it is best practice. One of best practice, which you probably have heard already, is encrypt at rest, for example, or log activities, or do something what is really essential, like don't put sensitive stuff on internet and make it publicly readable, something like this. Maybe I am oversimplifying it, but the point is that it's very high probability that it's going to be useful for many organizations. Then SOC 2, which is Service Organization Control, is collection of standards separated in categories like security, availability, and you probably have heard about this quite a lot of times, because this is kind of standard for service provider. If you want to store customer data and you want to prove to your customer that, well, we take care of your data, so don't worry if you use our service, we're not going to sell it on black market, for example. Well, though it's not regulated in SOC 2 as such. Then GDPR is another very important compliance framework, especially for individuals in EU, because GDPR controls how your personal data will be stored, processed, who will have access to it, and so on. And then there are more specific compliance framework per industry. For example, PCI DSS, which you have to implement if you want your company to deal with credit card information. You need to guarantee that only a limited amount of systems and people can access your data, and everything is secure. Your data is stored in well-prescribed secure environment, and so on. So let's look into a compliance framework in more details, right? So first, you understand that shared responsibility model is essential. Then second one, you figure out that you want to proceed with certain applicable regulation and standards. So you picked up your compliance framework, which you want to choose. And then you need to perform gap analysis. There are many third-party tools which you can utilize for that. One of pretty much standard, which you can get going, and maybe you have even implemented it already, which is AWS Security Hub. If you are on AWS, it will allow you to see how good or how bad your system overall is performing. So you can see like, okay, I have like 10% of controls implemented, which means I probably need to implement a lot more before I can say that, okay, now I'm ready to I'm ready to receive to go through normal audit. So once you run this compliance assessment, I'd like to mention tools like Crawler and SteamPipe and CloudQuery. They're all great tools, and I'm pretty sure you will just enjoy working with some of them. And once you perform this gap analysis, you need to implement these required controls which were discovered by these tools. And that's pretty much the meat of this talk. I know we are 15 minutes in the talk and we are just about to get started. So bear with me. Once you implement these required controls, you need to, again, if you have time, you may think about some automation of compliance process and implement some auto remediation activities. For example, using event-driven architecture, you can perform remediation that if something goes out of compliance, you want to roll back or you want to send notification, you want to do something. It doesn't matter yet. So once everything is done, you perform a normal compliance audit where you send a bunch of screenshots and documents and so on to your auditor. And then auditor can say, here is good, this you should improve, and so on. Normally, this process is more interactive, but the flow is very similar to the one which I just described. So let's look briefly into how to implement required controls. Well, infrastructure as code is kind of given, otherwise you wouldn't be attending this the conference because, well, that's pretty much what we have right now. Infrastructure as code tool, which can be used to perform security analysis and check what kind of configuration or security misconfiguration you have. You can use Checkov, TFSec, Kix, Terrascan, and many other tools which you can find out there. You can try all of this, but I'm pretty sure that the one which actually does most of work which you will need is kind of Checkov. So yeah, I tried many of them, and I know that Checkov does it very much correctly. So then the following step you need to perform, you need to review your Terraform configuration, you need to run this scan, you need to understand scan results, you need to understand remediation step, like how to put it back on track. And then you need to apply this remediation step. Or you can use compliance-ready Terraform configurations provided by Compliance TF. This is not yet implemented, but it's in active development. So let's do some demo. I know that some of you want to see a demo. At least I want to see a demo because that should be fun. So here we are. I have this compliance TF project. Very simplified way. It's a compliance TF demo where I have one of configuration file. Again, it's just to show the point where I have different Terraform code. Like in this case, I have module block for CloudFront, where I get Terraform-AWS module for CloudFront of specific version. I provide different inputs to this module, and I make usage of other Terraform-AWS module, and so on. So this is how typical your infrastructure as code looks like, right? Absolutely no rocket science so far. Then the thing which you normally do is that you run Terraform init, and as you can see here, it's downloading CloudFront module from, let me scroll, it's downloading it from registry. So registry Terraform.io is used, and it's public module, so you can use it, and you will have a CloudFront distribution created for you. Again, no rocket science. Then the next step is that you run tool like Checkov. Checkov discovers that, oh, I see that you use this CloudFront module, but you know there is some error which has this code CKV AWS 174, and you can see here, like, okay, this is in this line. So then the next thing which you need to do here is that you will have to go to you will have to go to browser, and you need to go to documentation, and you need to read quite a lot about this problem, right? So this is a code of this check. You read about it. Now you become more experienced about, oh my God, this is a problem. Oh, that's why, right? Oh, I need to go to AWS console. Of course not. Or I can put it in Terraform. That's better. And you need to specify this line. Okay, minimum protocol version, right? So imagine doing this 200 times on different modules, different resource, different environments, and so on, right? Does it sound scary? I hope it does, because the whole point of all of this is that I believe that you shouldn't be doing this repeatedly. All you want to do, and that's something what I've been repeating for many years, all you want to do is just focus on getting solution from other open source communities or projects, unless it is it is your main business. So your main business is probably not writing Terraform modules, because if it is, then please let me know, because I hire people always. But jokes aside, let me think about this. Now you have download public Terraform AWS module, and it was containing this issue. You read documentation, you figure out that you need to fix something. Okay, so you do this fix. Oh, let me fix it here. So you figure out that you need to fix minimum protocol version. You specify the correct value here. Then you need to run checkoff. Let me run Terraform init, because I deleted Terraform folder just by mistake. So then you run checkoff with correct minimum protocol version, because that's what you just read in documentation. And now checkoff is not complaining. Well done, Anton. Now you fixed one issue, 199 left. Well, I don't want to fix the rest 199. So that's why there will be a compliance TF repository, which is currently hosted on my local, just because it's in active development right now. But as you can see, that's the only difference which I need to specify here. So instead of going to Terraform registry, I now want to source it from another place. So I run Terraform init. All I did, well, I don't even need to specify this minimum protocol version. All I did is that I source it from compliance TF registry, which is hosted on this temporary location for now. And as you can see here, Terraform has downloaded this CloudFront module from that location. And then if I want to run checkoff now, I run checkoff, and checkoff will just say that everything is good. What it means is that inside of this Terraform registry provided by compliance TF, there are checkoff fixes implemented out of the box. So which means that you will have to use another endpoint to get most of checkoff fixes implemented for you. Which means, well, you just have things implemented and you don't need to do anything else. As you can see, you don't need to know about this minimum protocol version, which one is it, which one you need to specify. Of course, you can override it, and you can provide a value which you want, and it will be used, because this is the same Terraform AWS module as before. So that's pretty much it for the demo. I hope you get the point that just by changing Terraform registry URL to the one provided by compliance TF, you should be able to get Terraform AWS modules automatically fixed with compliance related issues. So let me go back to slide just briefly. Yeah, right. And the last slide which I have here is compliance TF is going to be, well, hopefully it's going to be available at the end of Q1, and it's about making your Terraform module compliance ready. For now, compliance.tf is the website. It has some FAQ. I'm really looking forward to hear questions, and you know where to find me, I hope. Anton Babenko is my username in Twitter and other places. So I'm done. Please ask your questions. I hope you have questions.
Yes, thank you for your topic and your work for DevOps and open source at all. And now we have several questions from people who you ask online. And first questions is a bit holy war questions. What tool is better, Terraform or OpenTofu?
Well, yeah, guys, you know how to troll me. Well,
Yeah.
the, the answer is pretty straightforward, actually. OpenTofu does not exist, really. OpenTofu does not provide anything valuable, tested, uh, other than, well, the way to compile it. As I was joking, I was able to compile Terraform many years ago, and it's not rocket science. I mean, it's open source project. That's it. You don't need to have a lot of knowledge. I'm extremely disappointed with the fact how OpenTofu is misleading and providing false information to the community. For me, this is just not acceptable. I don't want us to have two tools where one is fighting another. Instead, I want people to clearly understand why OpenTofu was started and who is behind of it. Like, I think that's pretty much it. Terraform existed for how many, 8, 9 years? And OpenTofu is now claiming that they had developed OpenTofu. Well, guys, you have compiled it, okay, and replaced Terraform with OpenTofu. No, absolutely. I completely against the OpenTofu movement for the time being. I may change my mind, but I don't see the reason why or what should have happened. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for your answer. And next questions, also from the same person. If you use dedicated Kubernetes service for hosting our application, do we still need Terraform?
Dedicated, you mean EKS? I guess. Well, obviously, Terraform is still vital for this work, and well, I don't want to say don't use Kubernetes, but yeah, if you're already in this position where you have to use it, then EKS, Terraform AWS module for EKS is extremely popular, and it's extremely high quality. So if you want to use it, yeah, look no further than Terraform AWS module for EKS. It's not going to be decommissioned in the near future, or yeah, kind of. Maybe it will be one more refactoring down the line, but that's normal life of the project. And I don't think there will be significant rewrite in the near future at all. But as I usually like to say, if you like LTS version of EKS, then use ECS. It's kind of my dad's joke, but
Okay, and our next question, how would you convince a company to adopt open source Terraform modules instead of writing their own for compliance and security?
well, I like to think about this as think about Terraform modules as libraries. Like if you guys are software developers at work, how often do you write libraries instead of using them? Probably not so often, if ever. Right? When you are using I don't know, any package, let's say you're writing your application, the first thing which you will do, you will search for some library and see like, oh, I need to include this library and I need to include that library. It's unlikely that in 2024 you're going to think like, oh, there is no library for making archives in Python. Let me write new one. Well, of course you can do it if you have nothing to do, but probably you want to deliver value. And that's exactly the separation. We provide terraform-aws modules. While using them, you will be able to focus on what you should be doing better, which is probably understanding how your business works and doing something around those lines instead of being kind of competitive and say like, oh, we can make modules and we can make modules, but my module is better, your module is not so good. My support this, your support that. It's not a competition, really. The point of terraform-aws-modules is that we provide very low-level components. You can use these components together and make your higher level. For example, you may use our auto-scaling group module and connect it with, I don't know, what else you can connect it to, let's say with your EKS cluster, for example, or managed nodes or self-managed nodes. And yeah, then you will be able to use our modules inside. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Think about this as libraries.
Okay, thank you for your answer. And let me check about new questions. Yes, we have new questions. So, what strategies or best practice should be considered when integrating compliance requirements into Terraform configurations?
Now, that's a really good question. Well, there are pretty much, how to say, there are a lot of things to take into account. As I was explaining in this presentation, I focus on just Terraform modules where you have your configuration, and I don't want you to fix something what is not related to your business as such. A lot of these things which you will have to fix, which only you unfortunately knows, is related to the way how your business operates. So it's probably even going to be less related to the infrastructure as code. It will be more related how you manage users, who has access to different systems like Gmail and so on, what kind of backup procedures you have. So this will probably take an enormous amount of time comparing to fixing Terraform code if you use compliance CF modules, because that's what we do. We fix it, we give it to you. You should be safe with that. Regarding other best practices, I think the main one is think about who are you gonna to work when it comes to the audit process. So try to involve your auditor as early as possible and get a list of things which they will have to have as early as possible. This simply put you in the position that you focus on just most important things. You work on those documents, lots of screenshots of your AWS console, and yeah, and that's it. Maybe the answer is not actually about Terraform as such. So sorry, but I don't know how to answer it better. But I know that a lot of time you will have to spend just footballing this Google Doc back and forth between your auditor and a bunch of different systems are implemented to share and to collaborate with this. Yeah, I hope this was useful answer. If I can provide more information, please let me know, and you know where to find me. I will be glad to provide more information and hear what you actually may be struggling with in terms of Terraform implementations.
Yes, in Discord, anybody can ask more questions and get more answers. And now for also have probably last question. So for now, did you found in your in Terraform registry malware like as we can find on Docker Hub or Node.js Hub, whereas have some modules have malware and in perspective, in security perspective, try to steal your personal data or have access to your cluster?
Well, funny enough, there is no security measurement which prevents you from publishing such modules. And this was a standing joke for a very long time. So you can publish anything, but I have not discovered modules where direct threat was implemented. I know how it can be implemented, and I was sharing some of these articles in the past on Terraform Weekly newsletter, but they were not implemented. And even if they would be implemented, it would take a lot of, not a lot of opposite, it would take very little time for people to find this information. Yeah, the way to prevent this malware is that we need to implement some sort of policy control mechanism before we execute Terraform apply. Something what we can run when we have Terraform plan, or even during Terraform apply procedure, because not everything is actually visible in plan still. So yeah, but I didn't find any malware related things. Though I was actually expecting it to happen almost immediately since launch of registry 2017. So maybe there is some, but it's not so popular, and well, not many people know about it. Sometimes people think that Terraform AWS module is pretty big vector where people can inject such stuff. Well, I can tell you that with amount of people who are downloading it and who are reading code, it will take maximum half hour. Half hour is like absolutely maximum, sometimes even 5 minutes for people to complain about something what they think is not good solution or is not implemented correctly. 5 minutes was a good example when some systems like Terraform registry was not available. 20 people opened issue, upvoted and discussed, and everything was like, oh my God, it's end of the world, because they thought that I have deleted one module. But in fact, Terraform registry was down for 5 minutes. So yeah, that's a lot of users and a lot of eyes. So I simply don't expect people to inject bad things. Yeah, there is only bad things which we can inject, which can affect certain individuals and certain countries. But yeah, that's life. I'm Ukrainian, so you may
Yes.
see that a lot of stuff is Ukrainian.
Okay. And now have questions about Terra Grant. Ask it about your advice. When and what you can we can find balance between minimize your code, minimize duplicate your code, and make complexity of this code, because Terra Grant is one more layer of abstraction and should have a lot of complex.
Well, yeah, Terra Grant is a beast in a sense that before OpenTop was a thing. Well, it's still not a thing, but at least Grant work is on board with Terra Grant supporting OpenTop. which for me gives an indicator that new features which are being added into TerraGrant will have higher probability to be working better with OpenTofu than with Terraform, which is kind of obvious, but it's a bit upsetting. But it's not so upsetting, because even before TerraGrant was a thing, there was already a prominent product started to be happening. So one which is still supporting Terraform and gonna to be having better support for TerraGrant. The product is called TerraMate. And I have to admit that I started using TerraMate before OpenTofu crisis, because I think it requires us to think about Terraform code in a way that we don't need to have tool which obfuscate Terraform code so much. So that's why I believe the TerraMate approach is better fit right now. It's a bit early, and I know that they can still make things miserable. But I believe that if you want to look into TerraGrant and think that this solution is probably okay, please take a look into TerraMate, and you can use it in exactly the same way as you would be using TerraGrant. I personally like TerraMate probably already on the same level as I've been using TerraGrant. I completely forgot the question, to be honest, but I think that start looking a little bit outside of TerraGrant, because it's not it doesn't have such bright future to my mind, and I don't see what it should happen so that Grunt work suddenly say like, oh, we are continuing support with Terraform and OpenTofu. That's just unlikely to happen. So they will definitely implement features which will be available only in OpenTofu, and most likely they will even present it as one of the benefits of using OpenTofu, because hey, look, TerraGrant support OpenTofu. So yeah, TerraMate is good. I guess the question was, sorry, I tried to remember it, but the question, what is the balance? Balance should be that you don't look into modules so much unless you really, really need to. So modules is your library, you provide different inputs into it, and that's it. TerraGrant does it perfectly until you figure out that, oh, now you need to introduce one more level of abstraction because you want to deploy it across different regions. And what surprised me even more is that during more than 5 years of existence of TerraGrant, there was not enough tooling in the open source which advocate for reusable environments. And we still have quite a lot of code which is very similar. That's why we make our own infrastructure module, which wrap our infrastructure modules, and it's just a lot of need. That's pretty much the reason why company like not company, sorry, EKS Blueprint was started, because it was hard to manage one level of abstraction. So let's make another one and call it EKS Blueprints. Sorry that it took so long time. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Anton, thank you again for your good topics. Thank you, visitors, for good questions and more details and more answering questions we can made in our Discord channel.